Hi, welcome to In the Workshop with Mark Tunley, 14th of December 23. Horrible weather outside, so filming inside. Going to talk to you about how I use the Mark Tunley Mark 1 multi-tips, 11'6" and 13'6". Okay, quick, before I go into that, quick technical details on the rods. They are very high quality 40-ton Toray Japanese carbon. So they're very lightweight and very pokey for their thinness. Test curve 1.5 pound or less because there's quivers, and quite a bit in reserve on the 13.6 as well, so more capable than the standard 1.5. Fundamental differences between the 13.6 and the 11.6 is on the 13.6, retractable, stores down to a two-piece, normal sort of size, less than a 12-foot two-piece. And on the 11, it's a fixed handle. Both the same handle, same length, same materials, same reel seats, etc. Slightly different, obviously, here because of the extension part. And that's it. So, how I use them? Well, bigger waters, the bigger rod. Smaller waters, the smaller rod. Simple as that. Line ratings, I use 10 pound. And the easiest way to think of this is you can fish any style of bomb work, ledger work, feeder work, any style you fancy, as long as it's 2 ounces or less, and any species. And that's the easiest way. When I was trying to get my head around this rod myself, I was thinking, what's the most simplistic way of describing it? And just saying, specialist rod for ledger work, 2 ounces or less. Now that sounds quite light when people say, oh, that my match rod is, casts 180 grams. It doesn't. It just about lobs it. They're vastly overrated as usual, but these will hit 2 ounces, unloaded feeders. That's the way. So load it up and you can give it some teddy. So they're very capable. And with the multi-tip, it's actually a true multi-tip. Now, I'm being a bit pedantic here, but it's the only true multi-tip in existence that I know of. Please feel free to send me a link to something else. I've never been able to find anything. What I mean by true multi-tip is all the rod has is tips. Okay? It doesn't have a special carrier and an Avon section. So to adapt them, what we've done is make very specialized tips that goes into the carrier. So your Avon rod is basically the specialist lake tip 2 ounces into the carrier, and that makes the Avon. I'm going to do a bit of a bend, line it roughly up for you and give you an idea, but it's seamless. It's an absolute seamless bend. And that's the proper 1.5 test curve, and that's pretty pokey. Then I'll come back to the usage of that in a minute. This is the specialist river tip, 1.25 test curve, seamless bend again. If I get a bit closer, I might be able to see it. There you go, rough line up, seamless blend. And then 2 quivers, a quiver designed for 1.5 ounce leads or feeders, and a quiver designed for 1 ounce leads or feeders. And the thing that's clever about them is the magic section. Now, you probably won't pick it up on video. Solid carbon, extremely bomb proof. I'm going to zoom in. Magic section. Solid carbon, very, very bomb proof. Magic section, magic bit, taper equals taper, taper equals taper, and the actions are blended. So when you put them together, oh, we're off. Right, and let's have a look at the seamless blend on the 1.5 ounce tip, because of the magic section, seamless blend, and the same thing. So the way to think about this rod is just think about what feeder or lead you're putting on and plug the appropriate tip in. So a true multi-tip. So you don't need to carry around a 6-foot section. You just have the tips in the tube, one already attached to the carrier, 2-piece in its elasticated rod tops and bags, whatever, and away you go. So how I use it, as I mentioned earlier, is just think any species you want to fish for, 2 ounces or less. and that'll do it. So if it's barbel, if the river, you can fish 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces, you want to go barbel fishing with it, knock yourself out, do it. It'll pull them in all day long. If you want to go crucian fishing on a tip and a still water, and you want to use a 1 ounce little inline feeder, little method feeders that they do, etc. like that, stick on the 1 ounce tip and away you go. So it's the most versatile rod going, because when you've got the addition of the specialist lake tip, you can sit the rod on buzzers. You can have multiple rods, 2, 3 rods on buzzers, sat there on your rod pod, doing their thing, specialist fishing for bream, big roach, whatever you want to do. So I use this rod for everything. And as I said, and I'm repeating myself time and time again here, just think 2 ounces or less. Whatever you're doing, if you say that normal river conditions, I can fish it with 1.5 ounce lead, where you go. You can use this rod. It will fish more, but I just don't, because you should use other rods for heavier lead situations. And that's it. Still waters, rivers, perfect. Any species, carp, barbel. I've had double figure barbel on them. I've had big carp on them. I've had bream. I've had everything, and even go roach fishing with it. So the most versatile rod of all. And at 13.6, use it on basically bigger waters. I do, as long as I've got overhead room, and on the smaller waters it feels nicer to have that. But as a general rule, I use the 13.6 more than the other one, because where I'm fishing, I'm not covered by overhanging trees, etc. So I prefer a longer rod. That is it. Mark Tunley Mark 1 specialist multi-tip, how I use it, and enjoy the fishing.